the Maharal of Prague, he goes to explain that Yiras Hashem, fear of God, is not an acquisition, but it's a realization. Why should a person fear God? You have a person who's a mortal king. Why do you fear the king? Because he has power, because he could hurt you. So you fear him. But the king doesn't, he could control your life, he could affect your life. But God is more than affecting, controlling your life. Why does existence exist? Your first name again? No. We passed, no, it was the second portion of the Torah, okay. Right? Why does the world exist? Why does anybody exist?
Love. Passion.
No. Because God willed it should exist. If God would have willed existence should exist, it wouldn't exist. If God should cease willing existence at this moment, what would the state of affairs be in existence? There would be no existence. It's not the world would be destroyed. The world would not be. What existed pre-existence? There was no existence. So why does the world continue to exist? Because he continues to will existence. So it's an ongoing willing of existence. That's what it is. So that you have a mind, you have inner organs, you have external limbs, that you have a function, that you have an ability. Every aspect of your ability exists. Why? Because God continuously wills that. That's why. Because if you cease to will any of that, you don't exist. And that's every aspect of existence. Correct? So if a person recognizes that reality, what are we? We're totally negated to God. If you have that understanding. Although we have a function, and he allows us to function independent, to make choices and live our lives as we choose, and hopefully we live them correctly, but factually, every aspect of your being is what? Is because he wills it, and he wills that you should have that aspect, that function. Correct? Alan? Shalva Shudda's Torah here. Okay. So the more you recognize that, the more you negate it. The more, to the degree that you internalize that reality, the more you negate it. But you understand. So what is it? So this understanding, is it something you've acquired? Is it something, we're not saying positive, is it something which you're adding to your life? Or it's now you're minimizing yourself, but the minimizing is an empowerment. You understand? Recognizing that, now you have nothing to fear. Because who's behind you? Every aspect of you is because God wills it to be. If you're independent, I have a limitation. What is my capability? Somebody could harm me, somebody could, because it's me and you. But if I am what God wills, so what is my power? Whatever God wills my power to be. It's coming from a different understanding. Correct? God allows you even to do evil, because that, which is free choice. It's interesting. This is the Ramak. The Ramak writes this, and the Ramchal writes this. It's unbelievable. You know, if a person would not have free choice, would you be deserving of anything? You'd be deserving of nothing. You have a robot, and the robot acts based on the way whoever created the robot programs it. The robot has no control. But if a person has control, God says, whatever you want to do, positive, good or evil, you should be empowered to do that. So who's the one who's directing the energy to be positive and negative? The person. So if it produces positive, then you're deserving of the positive outcome because you directed it positively. And if you choose to direct it negatively, you're culpable for whatever damage, whatever destruction it brings about. But who's powering it? God is powering it. But he gives you the ability to direct it to the right or to the left. That's why you're either deserving or you're not deserving. So God, but if a person would not have the ability to direct it to the negative, it's only positive, you're deserving of nothing. So why does the positive have value? because you could do negative. So God is willing to give you the ability even to do negative, so you should be a beneficiary if you choose to do the positive. It's unheard of. I'm willing to empower you, even to defy me, even to rebel against me, even to blaspheme me. Do you have that ability? Because if you wouldn't have that ability, when you do positive, it would have no value. It's profound. So what is the love of God to man to give him the ultimate opportunity? Even to do the negative on the most extreme level. He gives you that ability because otherwise the positive wouldn't have any value. Okay? Yirah Shamayim, to fear God means, the word in Hebrew to see is roeh. Seeing is seeing. Yirah, this is Rechaim Eloshen says this in Nefesh HaChaim. The more you see what heaven is, that will determine how you behave, how you function. The clearer, the greater you grasp that concept, the more you negate it, because you understand there's no aspect of your being that's not controlled by God. So Yirah Shamayim is not something what you are, it's a recognition of what you're not. And the more you recognize what you're not, then you really are something. Because then what are you? God is everything. But if you are, what you think you are, then you're really nothing. Because then you're limited, you're just a speck. You're a speck in existence, that's all. You're meaningless. Okay? So that's Yirah Shamayim. He says, what about Avas Hashem? Loving God. Loving God, that's considered an acquisition. Why? What's the difference between fear and love? Joshua. Fear and love. Fear, let's use another word. Reverence. Reverence and love. You revere someone or you love someone. What's, in terms of the effect to that person, how does each one affect the person? You revere or you love? This is a philosophy course, Lahavdil, that you take in university for 5 years in 5 minutes, what you learn.
I would say reverence is one way and love is two way.
No, the person loves. You could love your parent and your parent may not love you. Okay? So it could be one-sided too. A parent loves a child, let's be more basic. Parent loves a child, the child does not love the parent. Okay? So it's one way. So what's the difference between love and reverence? I'm not saying fear, which connotes punishment. What's the difference between reverence and love? Alan, what do you say? How much of the Starbucks did you drink here so far? Okay. Oh, halfway through. Okay, I'll wait till you finish the cup. The word reverence, what it conjures up, I would not dare, right? I wouldn't dare cross that line. Love motivates you to do. Love is doing. Reverence is passive. I will not do. That I revere. I would dare question, because I revere. Like awe. Who am I to question? Love is more than that. Love, because of my love, I attach myself. I'm motivated to do on behalf. That's what love is, right? So the Maharal explains, a person who loves God, you attach yourself to him. Fear, as we spoke, I recognize I'm nothing. Therefore, what am I? I don't value, who am I? I recognize I am what he wills me to be. That's who I am. But love, even though you also revere, but love is the next step. So because now I understand that, if you give me everything, and I am everything what I am because you will me, so if it evokes love, so what do? I want to be attached to you, even to a greater degree. One is a reality, and one is a consequence of that reality. You understand what I'm saying?
Notice one that's a two-way street. The assumption is, our assumption is, Hashem loves us.
No, but again, it's incorrect. The statement is not correct. I just gave you an example. A parent loves a child. The child doesn't love a parent. So it does not be two ways. With God, He loves you, but the man doesn't love God. Doesn't have to be two ways.
No. But the assumption is that Hashem loves us, period.
He doesn't love the whole world. God does not love the whole world. God loves...
To make that relationship.
God as a father loves the Jewish people. Does not love mankind. Does not love mankind. He doesn't want to hurt mankind. Who considered his children? The Jews are considered his children. The world not his children. The world are his subjects. We're his children and his subjects. It's like a prince. A prince is the son of the king, and he's also a subject of the king. The commoners are subjects. They're not the children of the king. We, because of what happened at Sinai, when we became his people, which everybody else rejected him, and we accepted him, we were chosen as his children. That's Abba. When we say the Shema, what do we say? Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu. He's our God. He's everybody's God. No, that personalization is only between God and the Jew. It's not between God and the world. Of course, he's the master of everybody, of all. But in terms of that personalization, that intimacy, that's only between God and the Jewish people, not with the world. Same idea. To be continued. Abrami. It's starting to resonate. Okay. Avinu Malkeinu. That's exactly what it is. What? You know, it says in Utro, you learn it all. There's a review. The whole life is a review. But you understand, what we discuss now, most Yeshiva Bochum don't understand this. I mean, they understand Yerushalayim, but to really understand at this level, because they don't study it at this level.
Why? Why is it they have to teach shiur before we teach Ava in Yeshiva and school? Why can't we teach Ava? The concept of revelation.
Because love will not. You can love for a moment. If the foundation of love is reverence, then the love is everlasting. Because it's the next step. But if it's only love, for the moment I have a glimpse of God, therefore I love Him. But because you understand, you feel that I am who I am, independent of Him, you don't internalize that. So it's just a fleeting moment, the love. The next moment, you do what you believe is good for you, because I have a right to do.
This is a comment. I see now as a general rule.
Ernie, you can sit in Moshe's seat. He's not here. Down there, I can't direct. You're not in the firing line down there.
That's why he's there. I see as a general concept. I'm not sure if it's in the Rabbi Yeshiva, but I know it's in the Maharal of shuls. I see that the concept now is to make shul a fun experience for children. In other words,
I'm very, very sensitive to words. You know that.
I say fun.
Let me explain you something. I don't quote Dennis Prager very often. Dennis Prager once wrote an article, fun and joy. People are having a lot of fun, but there's no joy in life. And people have joy. I understand that.
No, but they're trying to make it a positive experience for children.
Yeah.
The era.
But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If you just have that without the essence and the substance, these kids are out the door as soon as they can get out the door.
I'm talking about 7 or 8 year olds.
It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. It's meaningless. Of course, you want to make it. They should feel welcome. Everything should always be positive, but simultaneously, there has to be an understanding that this is not a playground. They have to understand that simultaneously. The Chofetz Chaim writes in the Mishnah Berurah that a person brings his child to shul, not to synagogue, to shul. He has to make sure that he sits next to him. He shouldn't carry on, because you have to teach a child that this is a location that you have to have reverence and have respect. If you don't teach a child respect when he's small, he's not going to have respect when he gets older. That's a fact. Of course, a child, the more he understands, but he has to be set in a direction. If he's not set in that direction, and as a child he's disrespectful, years ago, children called very often adults not by their first name. Today you have children calling their parents by their first name. Directly, not when they speak about the father. Today, at one time, even when spoken, he said, my father said. Today, even if a person doesn't call his father by his name, he says, Jack said, which is a disrespect. But today, even when he speaks to his father, he says, Jack, what's doing? It exists today. It's unusual, but it exists. It exists. I've seen it. I recoil. When it pains me when I see it. It's such a level of disrespect. But it is. It's disrespect. What? The old was Mister. You referred to him as Mister. And when you referred to a relative, an uncle, did you call him by his first name? It was always predicated on uncle or aunt. Today, so Jack, what's doing? It's a disrespect.
Even general behavior. My kid did something wrong. I have to explain to them I did wrong. When I was a kid, my father, if he just looked at me with his left eye in a funny way, I knew it was over. And he didn't have to say a word.
Yeah, you want to know? It's not because. But the difference is, it's not because your father would have punished you. That's reverence. Because you appreciated that he's your father. When he looked in a disapproving way at you, you understood it's a problem. It's not because he's going to physically hurt you, right? So that's why this generation looks the way it does. Everybody's going in every direction, and they don't know if it's up or down or sideways. Okay.